Hey guys, it's Carl Brown from guitarlessons365.com. Gotta smash it from blink-182 today. I just realized today, about well over a decade of making lessons on YouTube, that I've never done a blink-182 lesson. I'm not exactly sure why. I think it's a fun band, and it's just something that just slipped through the cracks, I guess. But we're gonna fix that today. We're gonna do their biggest hit, All the Small Things. Fun song to play, not very difficult. Even though it's just one guitarist, there is a few sections that have two guitars going at the same time. So if you have a couple guitar players in your band, you'll both have something to do. But it also sounds great fun with just one guitarist as well. All right, so we're gonna do this whole thing note for note. Now, before I get into it, please subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and ring that notification bell, of course, so you know when I release a new video. If that even works, I don't know if it does, probably doesn't. But if you really want to support what I do here on YouTube, please subscribe to my Guitar Academy. You'll see a link to it in the description below. My Guitar Academy contains all of my guitar courses covering everything from complete beginner stuff to more advanced courses on improvisation, ear training, theory, does say technique, you know, guitar tone, you name it. So there's a lot of courses there. You get personalized support with them from me throughout while you're going through the courses if you need any help at all. So please go check it out and get a free 7-day trial just by clicking the link below. All right, so I'm in standard tuning here. We're going to start here with this intro, which is, just... All right, so one of the greatest music videos of all time. So we're going to start here with just this C power chord here. So this power chord built off the 3rd fret of the A string. Actually, no. Very beginning of the song here, I forgot these two chords. It goes through a quick little G-F power chord transition. So we have 3rd fret on the low E, 5 on the A, 5 on the D. So play that G power chord, and then jump down to play the F power chord. 1st fret. So same shape, 2 frets lower. And then we jump up here to the C power chord to kind of start the actual riff. So that's the C power chord. So it's the same power chord shape, just built off the 5th fret, the A string, 3rd fret of the A string. So 3 on the A, 5 on the D, 5 on the G. And then jump over here, which is going to be the 3rd fret on the D string, 5 on the G, and 6 on the B. So this. Now what we're going to do is resolve that to this G power chord. So we did earlier, that power chord off the 3rd fret of the low E string. So you hit that a few times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So 9 times total. So there's some muted hits. So I'm just kind of muting the strings down there with my fret hand. And just kind of doing like 4 muted hits. And then going down and hitting that F power chord a few times. So altogether, it's... So then, after you get to that, you just jump back here into that C and repeat that riff. So you usually don't see the riff played like that. It's just kind of in the beginning of the song. So don't forget those 2 opening chords, and then it's just that same riff played twice. All right, and then we get to the verse section. So we're going to bring things down a little bit, kind of palm mute It kind of goes back into more two-note power chords here. So you can just play the third fret on the A, fifth on the D. So that's just kind of some kind of eighth note palm muted, just downstroke. So just the power chord here, the same power chords we did, but it's kind of the two-note versions of it. So just the C power chord off the third fret of the A string, then move it over to the G power chord off the third fret of the low E. So that's 3 on the low E, 5 on the A. Take that down 2 frets to the F power chord, then back up to the G power chord. So all together. So it's just kind of those, it's a 4-chord progression. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just repeat. Just heavily palm muted there. And then we get to the pre-chorus. Pre-chorus is pretty easy. We're back to this C power chord. Just kind of the 3-note version of it. Sounds a little bit bigger. And then we get to the chorus. So that pre-chorus was just hitting one chord and just letting it ring. And now the chorus is where there's actually 2 guitar parts going on here. We have one that goes. So it's just taking that same C power chord to the G, to the F. Now that's the main one. If you have one guitar player in your band, that's the one they're going to want to play. So, but there is an octave note that's octave that is layered on top of that, and it's a C octave. We're going to talk more about octaves in this next section coming up. But we have basically the 3rd fret on the A string, and then the 5th fret on the G string. So those 2 notes are both C's, 1 octave apart. So we want them both to ring like one big note. So how we make that happen is you have to mute that string in the middle. So I'm muting basically all the strings with my index finger. So I'm muting the string above the A string with the tip of my ring index finger, and I'm muting the D string that is in between those 2 notes we won't heard. I'm muting that with the bottom of my index finger, and then the rest of the strings, the B and the high E, are also muted by the bottom of that index. So therefore, I can hit all 6 strings, and you only hear those 2 notes. So the big thing about octaves is the muting. So you get the muting right, it's pretty easy. So here, while this is going, so while that's going on, we're having a C octave play the entire. So kind of just hold it. Don't do that, it's painful. But that's kind of the sound it creates. So it's kind of just like this, when you're going through those chords, it creates this really kind of cool ambient quality. All right, so that's going on for both parts. And then coming out of that, we have this little guitar riff that happens coming out of the chorus, which looks like this. So once again, there's two guitar parts going on here. If you want to play one like Tom plays this one live. So we had that same C octave. So it's the same octave shape we're using. Now we're just going to move around and create a little melody with it. So it's going to stay on the same strings. So whatever fret I call out, it's just the fret that your index finger's at. So we have, so you take that from the 3rd fret up to the 8th. You took both notes there, then 7, then 5. Those little muted hits again, and then back down to the C octave. So we have this. Repeat. All right, so now underneath that octave riff, so underneath, we do that riff that was in the intro of the song. So we have this. So we played that before. That was in the intro of the song, so probably nothing new to it. But we do that octave melody, which is kind of just, if you had one that was more important, it's those octave, the melody. But if you have two guitars, you can really make it sound great if you do both of those parts together at that section. All right, so then it goes back through the same verse again, the muted. And the same pre-chorus where you just C power chord, and then the same chorus again. Now out of the chorus, now we have this kind of bridge section, which once again things get kind of brought down a little bit, and there's two guitar parts going on here too. So we have kind of this little underlying clean thing that's going on. It looks kind of like this. So that we've got that thing going on, and then we got this little muted thing that I'll do in a second here. So this is kind of cool. Starts with just a C major chord. So just like we were doing earlier, just a full C chord though. So make sure after you get that note on the 3rd fret of the A string, you're going to be borrowing the 5th across the D, G, and the B. And then we're going to go. So this first chord that's happening here is an F sus 2 chord. So it's just the 3rd fret there on the D, open G, and then the 1st fret there on the B string. Creates that nice airy sound, and then you basically take both notes and move it up 2 frets. So now it's going to be the 5th fret there on the D string, the open G. It'll be the same note. And then that 3rd fret there on the B. So we have the C major. Sorry about that. So it starts, when they first start it sounds like there's the full C major, right? And then that F sus2. And then the second time you just kind of hear, like you don't hear the B string here. It just sounds like a C power chord. And then back to the same chords. So you can do it whatever. All right, so while that's going, we have this little palm muted thing starting, which if you're gonna do any of these sections, this is probably the one you're gonna wanna do. It looks like this. All right, so that is just going to be like heavily palm muted again. So just lay your palm right in front of the bridge here, and we're going to play the 5th fret across on the G string to the 5th fret on the D. So you can do a few measures of that. Just kind of 1/8 notes. You can do all downstrokes. So the G to the D string. Just holding those 2 notes, heavily muting them. So I believe it's like 3 measures of that. And then 1 measure of taking the note on the G string and moving it down to the 4th fret there. So that note on the 5th fret on the D stays the same. So. All right, so from there we just go to that final chorus section, which is a little bit different. Looks like this. All right, so it's the same kind of 3 chords. So just play the same way there a couple times. Now this 3rd time through, we have a little of this. So that was just kind of hitting that. When we get to the F chord, you're gonna play it kind of muted with 2 downstrokes, and then hit it. Just let it ring open. So that's like dun dun dun, that little thing. You're gonna do that rhythm pattern on it twice. So I have this. Then you start the riff over again, and this next time through was kind of the last time. To kind of extend that little rhythm pattern on the F, right here. So you basically did it 4 times instead of 2. It's just that mute, then let it ring. So. And then it just ends with that C power chord. I will say that it kind of sounds like some on the recording when he's doing the chorus sections. When he goes to this C chord, you can almost. You can almost hear that G in the bass on it. Maybe the bass is doing it, but sometimes I can feel like there's a guitar that's layered in there that you do hear that low G note in there, so it's kind of just adding the 5th in the bass for that C chord. It sounds good without it though too. Just something I kind of hear sometimes on the recording, but you know, I think it sounds great without playing it there. But like I said, it could be like a little overtone I'm hearing or whatever. All right, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a fun song, great for 2 guitar players, but still sounds great with just 1 as well. So hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for guitarlessons365.com.